Welcome to the show now, where we break it all down. Monday Night Raw goes wild, Smackdown lights the town. Wrestlers in the ring fierce, from Cena to The Rock. Undertaker brings the fear, Brock Lesnar throws the shock. Casual guy, he's talking loud, WWE makes him proud. From the ropes to the mat, can you feel that wrestling bout? Becky Lynch is on fire, rolling, spinning with desire. Reigns with the Superman punch, style stealing the main event lunch. Every week we go live, listen close, feel the vibe breaking down that wild scene. Wrestler's king, this arena. Casual guy, he's talking loud, WWE makes him proud. From the ropes to the mat, can you feel that wrestling bout? Casual guy, he's talking loud, WWE makes him proud. From the ropes to the mat, can you feel that wrestling bout? Casual guy, he's talking loud, WWE makes him proud. From the ropes to the mat, can you feel that wrestling bout? Wrestling bout.
Sorry, I just made some new songs. I gotta run another one. And
Welcome to the showdown, where we break it all down.
This one
Monday
may be
Night Raw goes wild, Smackdown lights the town. Wrestlers in the ring fierce, from Cena to The Rock. Undertaker brings the fear, Brock Lesnar throws the shock. Casual guy, he's talking loud, WWE makes him proud. From the ropes to the mat, can you feel that wrestling bout? Becky Lynch, she's on fire, rolling, spinning with desire. Reigns with the Superman punch, style stealing the main event lunch. Every week we go live, listen close.
alright. Enough of the fun stuff. Now we're really get into it. Real theme song.
Body slam with the crash. The casual guy talking, don't let it pass. He spits the truth in the wrestling podcast bash. From the top ropes they dive for the belt that bends. Blood, sweat, and tears, they reap what they spin. In the square circle, lives twist and then listen to the tales, the casual guy's intent. From the top ropes they dive for the belt that bends. Blood, sweat, and tears, they reap what they spend. In the square circle, live, life, twist, and then listen to the tales, the casual guy's intent. Tune in, tune out, you can watch out, WrestleMania. Wrestling Wasteland. Heroes fall, villains rise and dance the violent dance.
One.
Chairs, tables, ladders, stakes.
Welcome to the show. We're just trying to
the casual guy breaks it down, chance by chance. He peels back the curtain, gives secrets a glance. Podcast waves reverberate like a count. Each move, each fight, not just for the clout. Standing tall in chaos, what it's all about. The casual guy tells it raw, no doubt. Long-clutching battles, unending tales, flashing lights, roaring crowd, no trumped up sales. The young scripted talk of reality prevails. In the casual guy's realm, the truth never fails.
By all means, please. There's a QR code right there.
Tune into the Universal WrestleMania. Wrestling Wasteland. Here are four
Nothing to tell.
rise to
This is
the
what it said.
show. It's a fire dance. Dance tables, ladders, stakes, the audience in a trance. The castle guard breaks it down chance by chance. It deals back the curtain, gives secrets and plans. Podcast waves reverberate like a count. Each move, each fight, not just for the clout. Standing tall in chaos, what it's all about. The casual guy tells it raw, no doubt.
Oh, cool. Hey, we're learning new stuff.
Casual guy tells it raw, no doubt. Casual guy tells it raw, no doubt. Bone-crushing battles and unending tales. Flashing lights, roaring crowd, no trumped up sails. Beyond the scripted saga, reality prevails. And the casual guy's realm, the truth never fails.
Let's go, baby. All right. The theme song's over. Do you guys want to hear another one? Hit me up in the chat. If you want to see another one. What the hell is this one?
Faded up memories.
No, that's not the song. The casual guy theme. This country one sort of got me. That one sort of tossed me for a loop. Well, welcome. If we're gonna talk about Raw, let's talk about the thing that I think we're all thinking about. First off, what's up, Mark? Dude, thank you for joining today. It's cool to, I'm always curious, like, okay, now we got 3 people. We're on fire right now. I'm always curious to see who's out there, if because usually there's like one person that's on that's watching live, and I never knew who it is. And um, you know, like I said, bear with me a little bit. I'm kind of getting used to figuring all this stuff out, how to display the chat and all that cool stuff. Like, I want it to be interactive. I want it to be fun. Um, so Mark, what's up? Anything you want to talk about tonight, dude? Like, call in, whatever it is. Like, you have full reign, good man. Here we go. Oh, boom. There's the QR code. So you can scan that and tune in if you like. But what do we all want to talk about? We want to talk about Monday Night Raw. And the biggest news coming out of this, if you watched Ryan's King's Court on Fridays, usually we do the Royal Rumble Fridays where I do a little segment about wrestling, but then we invite any of the callers of his show to join in, and we like to get as many people in there as we can. So far, I think the record is 10. Or 9 or something like that. Love the headbutt to live by mommy. Yes, absolutely. And you know what, Mark, I wasn't gonna talk about that a ton tonight. I do have a little bit of touch on that, but I think the biggest news coming out of Monday Night Raw is obviously Jay Uso takes the IC belt from Braun Breaker. Say it with me now. Yeet! We are yeeting all over the place tonight. I think my biggest thing was like Jey Uso when he left the bloodline. I think he was at his hottest moment up until like the last couple weeks. And I think it took him gosh, it's been probably over a year now, a year and a half or so since he's left bloodline. And so I thought he was really hot out of the gate, but then there was sort of this lull there for a little bit. So it's really cool to see Jey Uso finally kind of get his moment in the sun. And you know, I've talked about Braun Breaker and my thoughts on him. Like, I mean, you're not gonna find a bigger Rick Steiner fan than myself. And obviously seeing Rick's son in the ring doing really well. Um, it's really cool, and I love Braun Breaker to death, but I just always felt like his title uh, that he earned was a little bit too soon, and So maybe I've been a little bit critical of that, but I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to cement him as a viable contender for future belts and stuff. And so I understand that. And I'm glad that he did get it, but I'm also glad that they made his run relatively short, to be honest. Um, when you look at a dude like Jay Uso who's been doing it for I think like 15 years, whatever it is, um, he's finally got his time to shine as a solo act. He's always been um, affiliated with his brother, and I think he still is. Um, and that's okay. And I look forward to Jimmy's return, but I think this is a perfect belt for a dude like Jay Uso to win. Um, I think he flirted a little bit in the beginning of his breakout uh, from the bloodline with some heavyweight title matches. I don't think that was the right move, and I think they recognize that. And so for them to pull it back a little bit, give him some space, some air to breathe to sort of define what his character is. Um, I think that was fantastic. And so for him to come win this IC belt, I think I think this belt looks really good on Jay Uso. Excuse me for one moment. But let's see. Mark, do you have any thoughts on the Jay Uso? I mean, God, come on. How good was that? Um, so I really love Jay Uso moving forward as this IC champ. I think from here you probably do start to develop this rivalry between Braun Breaker and Jay Uso, and I think they're evenly matched. If you look at the two of them, I think you could see it going either way, and so that's why I love this rivalry. I love Jay Uso being the title holder. And here's the thing with Jay Uso: everybody loves him. Like, show me one person that doesn't like Jay Uso, and I think he's the right dude to hold that belt. So that was really cool. Um, let's talk about the Judgment Day. Uh, you had Rhea versus Liv. They're going to be a bad blood. Plus Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. The stipulation with Rhea versus Liv is that Dom will be hanging from a shark cage above the ring. And this is kind of weird. It sort of reminds me of like Lion King, and I'm spacing on the bird's name. Uh that was in the Lion King, but he was sort of like hanging there as like Scar's little go-getter or whatever. Um So I'm curious to see what that looks like. I think Dom is awesome, and I love what he does. And so I think you will have some comedy in there built in with him just like swinging over the top of the ring in a shark cage. That should be pretty fun and silly, goofy, and all that stuff. Mark, that win surprised me, but you're right. Breaker hasn't paid his dues. I'm right there. Uh, I think okay, Braun's paid his dues to an extent, right? And they're doing this with a lot of the NXT talent that gets drafted or just like suddenly appears uh into the main card status. And you know, yes, like I get it. Like that dude deserves all the titles, but does he deserve them today? And uh, like I said, like I think it's cool to like give him a belt for a couple of months, or maybe it's even barely been 2 months, whatever it is. Well, that's not what we want to do. Let's fix that. Sorry. Um, but I think he needs more time. He needs a little bit more time for us to like really start believing that he is the truth. Um, so uh, I'm happy that Jay won. I know Braun will be back. I think these two are going to sort of run a rivalry for a little bit. Now, I could be totally wrong. I think Jay could parlay into a Terror Twin rivalry against maybe a Finn Balor starts going for Jay's belt because he's getting his nose into their business and all that stuff, right? So I think there's a couple different avenues that you could take with this Jay Uso championship. And I think this is kind of parallel to LA Knight being the US champion. Um, I think there's a lot of similarities. Like these guys are the people's champs. Um, and everyone wants to see these two with a belt. So give the people what they want sometimes, but also don't give them what they want. Um, which is, I guess I could segue a little bit into the Drew McIntyre and CM Punk with that. Um, what do I think the people want in the CM Punk Drew McIntyre match? I think the people want CM Punk over Drew. I am not in that camp. I'm a Drew guy, and I love this version of Drew. And I think there are a lot of people out there that do love this version of Drew McIntyre. But I think at the end of the day, people want to see CM Punk beat Drew in that final match, and I think this will be the final match between Drew and CM Punk, at least for a while. Um, but we'll see. I think you got to dissolve this rivalry between the two and let them move on to another rivalry contender, whatever it is, beyond this. So let's see. Uh, Mark, Jay is feeling very oozy tonight. Yes, he's feeling oozy juicy. Is WWE hurting for talent? No, I don't think so. I think all right, so maybe I'm skipping ahead. I wanted to kind of hit some of the raw stuff. Um, but we can skip that and we can get right into it. Is WWE hurting for talent? I uh, absolutely don't think they are. Uh, I think okay. There's like a rumor section of stuff that I've written out that I probably want to talk about. Um, okay, so there's rumors that SmackDown will be switching to a 3-hour format um probably towards the end of the year as we sort of get towards that Netflix deal, right? But they are on that new deal with USA, so I think it could happen sooner than that. Plus they've already told us that they're bringing back the Saturday night main event, which was a super old school thing. Early 90s, I believe, is when that started. Maybe late 80s. I'm not sure, but they're bringing back the Saturday night main event. And I think this is exactly what I'm speaking to. You've got Monday Night Raw, you've got SmackDown, you've also got NXT plus their show on Tuesday nights with their PLEs, which usually precede the WWE PLEs the following night. And so I think they're actually um, they're sort of they don't know what to do with all the talent that how do you get all these people airtime, right? Outside of NXT because they have main card people going on NXT, which I love. I think that's great. And I think it's good to help develop maybe those main card superstars that they're, they're not there yet, right? Like they can develop their talent on a smaller stage and I guess sort of try out some of the ideas that they wanna push to the Monday Night Raw, to the Friday Night SmackDown. So, I think it's a great, venue for that. Now you're gonna bring Saturday night. Now, here's the thing about Saturday night television, it's the slowest night, of any television night, for ratings. So, what do I expect out of Saturday night? I don't think you're gonna have I think it's gonna be somewhere in between NXT and a Friday night SmackDown. So you're gonna have maybe a little bit of crossover with NXT and the main card. I think this is a if you're really into WWE, I think this is gonna be a show that you're gonna watch. I think whenever they do launch this, that you're gonna see a lot of the big names out there in the beginning, and then, it'll pull back a little bit, and you see some of those, lower main card, people sorta grab the mic on this stage, and they can shine without being on NXT, which I'm not saying it's a downgrade, but I'm just saying, like, it's a developmental league essentially, right? So, I think this is somewhere in between that. Um, but I'm excited for that, and, I know my wife isn't, but, it's another night of main card wrestling essentially, and I think you will have a little bit of shock and awe in the beginning. Probably in that first year, you'll see a little bit of surprises, whether that's who shows up, all that kind of stuff, whatever. But Mark, to your point, I think the roster for WWE right now is like too big for what they have available to air on TV. And I think they just have like this influx of NXT talent that should be on the main card. Um, and so I think they're working towards that stuff. So um with these additional, if you're gonna move to SmackDown being 3 hours, and then you're gonna add a Saturday night show, which I would assume is probably gonna be about 2 hours. Yeah, NXT is the minors. It's the minors, but where do the main eventers start, right? Uh, they start at the minors and they build their way up. But with this increased screen time that they're gonna have, I think something I've been campaigning for. This is my campaign to the WWE. If you're gonna increase the amount of time that these wrestlers are gonna have on the air, please increase the amount of belts. And I think as we get into the era of Netflix, and now we're not on network TV, it's on USA for the moment only. Um, bring back some of the old school belts, baby. And let me plead my case, right? All right. Let's do TV. Okay. Here's the one I want to bring back the most. The WWE television champion. Now this was the old WCW belt, and I think before that it was an NWA belt. I might be totally wrong. Okay, come on. We gotta go. Sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and search on the internet. Television champion list. We'll see. All right. Okay, let's start with the WWC or WCW World Television Champions. Who were some former champions? Okay, so let's get to modern-ish area. We're listing a bunch of um, people from the early 80s, which I don't think anyone watching right now would know. But let's start at 1985. Dusty Rhodes. Let's go. Our boy, the American Dream. He held it twice. Arn Anderson, he's in there. He had it. Uh, Looks like Dusty held it quite a few times. Sting, Rick Steiner, there's our boy. Oh no. Arn Anderson again. Steve Austin. What? A couple times. Ricky Steamboat, Scott Steiner, Steven Regal, DDP. Okay, so now we're headed into the 90s and you have like DDP, and I think this is maybe my first memory of the title is like DDP holding it. Um Lex Luger, Johnny B. Bad a couple times. Ultimate Dragon. Okay. Do I have time to go on an Ultimate Dragon rant? Like man, Ultimate Dragon, I think about him. I think about La Parka was my favorite. One thing I loved about the old WCW is they had a lot of the luchadors, the masked luchadors in there. Uh Ultimate Dragon, like he was, for me, right behind Rey Mysterio. And I thought like I used to love playing the old WCW Monday Nitro video game on Nintendo 64. And Ultimate Dragon was one of my favorite people to play with. Same with Rey Mysterio, but you know, I don't think that guy gets enough credit for what he did. I was a huge La Parka fan as well. I loved those sort of like La Parka was like funny, but he had a mask on, so it was kind of this weird thing, but he pulled it off so well, and so I love that. In my mind, the most famous TV champ, Disco Inferno. Like, who didn't love Disco Inferno? You got Booker T, Saturn, Rick Martel, Chris Benoit, Fit Finley, Stevie Ray held it, Chris Jericho, Scott Steiner, Rick Steiner, Chris Benoit, Scott Hall, Jim Duggan was the last one to hold it before it got deactivated in 2000. I think there's a lot of history in this belt, and I think they should bring it back. Come on, man. That's my campaign for that. I like Wade Barrett as a color announcer. Any chance he wrestles again? I don't think there's any chance he wrestles again. I do love him as a color on Monday Night Raw with Tess. Um, I think Tess brings that professionalism that Michael Cole has, that sort of pedigree, and so I'm right there with you, Mark. Like I love Wade Barrett. Uh, Adam Graves, probably not my favorite. I don't think he's the strongest out of the group. And so I think it makes sense for them to move Michael Cole over there with him because he's going to help teach Graves how to be the play by play and not just the color. So Yeah, I love it. I think he brings Wade Barrett brings the clout to Monday Night Raw, and Tess brings the um I guess the clout is the announcer for it. So I do love that. Good call out. So I want the TV championship belt back. Next up, this one for me is so easy as we transition into Netflix. Uh and now they're on just USA, so you can get away with a little bit more on the cable TV. But the hardcore championship, you could also call it the 24/7 championship. Um, let's see who the former title holders were with that. All right. Hmm, let's see. Can we share this tab instead? Let's do that. How do I flip it? I don't know how to flip it. Uh, okay. So the history of this. Um, the corporation was manipulating mankind. Vince McMahon had awarded the taped up broken championship belt to mankind as a backhanded compliment to keep him away from the actual WWF championship. Rather than reject the dilapidated title belt, Mankind embraced it with gratitude, calling McMahon dad to the disgust of the corporation. The title was won by the big boss man a month later. And so that was like the start of it, right? Uh Crash Holly won the belt, and he introduced it as the 24/7 rule, which sort of called it like the 24/7 belt, the hardcore belt. It was basically like anytime, any place. And they would do like pre-tape segments, they would do behind the scenes before the show started, stuff like that. Um, and so it really did become this hardcore thing. At WrestleMania 18, Maven defended the title against Goldust after they knocked each other out with trash can lids. Spike Dudley entered and pinned Maven to win the title. Then in the backstage area, the Hurricane pinned Spike for the title. Molly, Hurricane sidekick, told the Hurricane to cycle before knocking him out. Um, Christian won the title by pinning Molly after hitting her in the head with a door. As he he was about to leave the building in a taxi, he was attacked by pinned by Maven, who regained the title um, and escaped in a taxi. So there's been like men and women who've held this. I think the WWE is going away from women and men fighting each other. I think probably for obvious reasons. But uh, you do see a little bit of that with the Rhea and Liv stuff. I think us as an audience looks at Rhea and we're like, oh, she could beat me up. And I'm a dude. And so it's believable, but I think at the same time you sort of tiptoe this you know, men beating up women sort of line, and not a lot of people are into seeing that. I guess is the best way to put it. So, um, I'd love to see sort of a hardcore belt come back, a 24/7 belt, something like that. My last plea, and maybe this is bigger than the TV champ or the hardcore belt, is the cruiserweight belt. Now I know that it's the North American belt or the North American champion in NXT, but I think when you look at the roster and you like specifically Carmella, who was the North American champ, um, you look at some of these smaller guys, and it's tough to suspend. disbelief when they face one of these bigger guys. You know, if you want to talk about, Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed, like people like that. Like you look at that and you're like, this guy's 180 pounds versus, 300 something, whatever. So I think he gives another avenue there. But in my dream of dreams, I'd love to see all three of those title belts come back. And I think you do have enough talent to support that. Going back to the original question, does WWE is WWE hurting for talent? No, I don't think so. Um, Speaking of which, we might see some talent leave. AJ Styles, his contract is rumored to be up towards the end of the year or the beginning of next year. Um, It it sounds like, he did an interview and said something to the effect of, "I want one more story, before I finish up my career." The dude is 47, and however he's doing this stuff at his age is beyond me, um, but I think he also said that, his mind is saying, "Let's go, we can do this," um and maybe his body is saying no, no, we can't. But either way, like, if he wants to go out on one more story, I'm not sure what that story is. I don't think you can go back to the Cody stuff. um but my question is, like, where do you go beyond the Cody storyline? Like, he had that moment, and I think, like, that was his moment for, like, the biggest storyline to end his career. I think they could bring it back, possibly, but I I don't know, like, how much you can't go out bigger than that. That being said, like, I don't think he ended that story with the conclusion that he's never going to wrestle again. And so, Uh, I think he wants to do a farewell tour of sorts. And so, you know, could he be a guy that faces an LA Knight, Jay Uso, something like that? Maybe the LA Knight one makes a little more sense. And I think you got a dude with LA Knight that could respectfully, like, send AJ uh, into retirement. So we'll see what happens. Speaking of retirement, Mick Foley is apparently renewed his legacy contract with WWE, and um, you know, uh, about 2 years ago, a friend got me a cameo from Mick Foley, and I, you know, I don't know anything about cameos. But typically it's just like a celebrity saying, "Hey, what's up? Happy birthday, Adam. Hope you have a good one." Whatever. But my friend got a Mick Foley one, and Mick, the day I was being congratulated on happened to be the same day as the anniversary of Hell in a Cell, and so Mick started to sort of get into, like, the history of Hell in a Cell and the story from his perspective behind that. And, he went on for about 5 minutes or so, and it was really cool to see. But um, when he started the cameo, he was wearing the mankind mask, but he couldn't call it that. So he called himself, like, a guy wearing a mankind mask rather than "this is mankind." And then, like, I think he didn't own the trademarks to, like, Mr. Sacco and things like that. And, you know, is that a Vince thing? I don't know. I'm not really here to comment on Vince and how he ran his business because he's probably a hell of a lot smarter than I am when it comes to that. But uh, you know, I think with this business, um, I think you want to honor the guys who are legends, and if you don't consider Mick Foley a legend, I don't know what to tell you. And I think now that you have a guy like Triple H who's in charge, um, I think he will sort of honor those guys and find a way because I don't know if there's a lot of money once they retire from wrestling. Like, do they have a 401k or something? I don't know, but so I think it's a cool way to bring Mick back into the fold. I think there's a lot of guys who were ex WWF, WWE, whatever, that kind of got burned once they were done. And when I say burned, I'm not like accusing anyone of doing anything, but if you were someone who were a legend in a sport, and maybe this is not mm, not exclusive to WWE. I think it could be incorporated in different sports, but when these athletes retire, they don't always get compensation beyond that for their likeliness and things like that. So I hope that this new contract serves Mick well, and maybe we can get some more merch on the site. Like, who wouldn't want a Mankind shirt? I know they've got the Cactus Jack up there. Uh, and that's a great one, but he wasn't known as Cactus Jack. We need some Mankind gear, and hopefully he gets a little cut of that as well. So um, that's my thought on that. Okay, I have no clue if this is true or false or whatever, but there were rumors that Da Vinci was flirting with Tiffy, and that's sort of what led to his demise of splitting from Imperium. Again, I have no uh, proof to back this up or anything beyond an article I saw on the internet, but um, if that is the truth, he really put the "duh" in Da Vinci. Don't do that, man. Like, if you're trying to hit up the wife of the dude that you're in the faction with, like, I don't think you're gonna last long. I'm not saying that's the truth, and I hope it's not, but it was something I read, and I was like, "That's gotta be the dumbest thing, if it were true." Next up, we've got the Mr. McMahon documentary coming out relatively soon. I'm not exactly sure on the date. I do have the internet, so maybe I could look that up and tell you now. Mr. McMahon Netflix release date. Let's they have the trailers, the official Netflix site. When is it? Um, did it? Um, I'm not sure. I'm not going to spend too much time trying to figure out when it comes out. I can't find the release date. Um, but this whole thing is interesting. Like, why? I know why. You, I think Netflix probably had this thing in motion before September 25th. So it is today. Wild. Okay, cool. So it's out there now. I will be sure to check that out as much as I can. Um, wasn't Cactus Jack just a WCW character? He would make appearances on WWF. But it would be really rare. Like, Dude Love and Cactus Jack would be super rare. I think Cactus Jack was more of the like ECW or New Japan uh character. I think he was Cactus Jack when his ear got blown off in the ring. Um, but yeah, good question. But back to the Mr. McMahon stuff. I mean, by all means, this is going to be the thing that sort of buries Vince McMahon. I know there's a lot of this stuff going around, um, and I'm not trying to justify anything that he may or may not have done, but um, it just seems weird that Netflix would release um, this documentary right before they actually have WWE on for Monday Night Raws. Uh, it seems weird and ill-timed, and I don't know how WWE feels about it, but I would assume that it's not like they're not cool with it. Apparently there were some Netflix executives at this past Monday Night Raw also checking out the show. But to me, this isn't a good look if you're Netflix. Like if you're trying to make all the money off of WWE, but before you do that, you just slam the guy and expose the dude who I don't know, it just feels weird. I'm not saying that they shouldn't or we shouldn't know the truth about Vince if that's what it is, but it's not going to be a flattering documentary, I don't think. And so it does feel a little bit weird for them to release this. It just doesn't add up to me. I'm not sure why would do that. But we'll see. Apparently, it's out today, so I'll be sure to go check that out. Mark, thanks for tuning in and chatting in here, dude. That was awesome. And to the other two people who were in here, thanks for joining as well. I'm gonna go ahead and call this thing a night, and um, we'll hit my freaking music, man. Let me see. That we'll go there. And then we do a little bit of this. And we are out. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate it. No, wait. Where's the fun one? Okay, this is the one. I'm I'm throwing some new songs out here. You know what you think. Oh shit. You can't hear it. Hold on. All right. Here we go. We're sharing. And all right. This one's kind of a goofy one.
Click the mic, crackle now. Casual guy, take a bow. Wrestling tales spilling out. Power slam, shouts no doubt. Late night fights, clip tight. Pod waves crash in the night. Ringside tales come alive. Tune and stay
kind of goofy. But okay, this one might be better for better for I don't know. I think this song is still my jam, but this is a different version of it.
Another Monday night raw. Another Monday night raw. And the rain they crash. Smackdown Friday night. Body slam with the crash. The casual guy talking for let it pass. He spits the truth in the wrestling podcast. Bash, bash. For the top ropes, they died for the belt that bent. Blood, sweat, and tears, they rape what they spent. In the square circle, lives twist and bent. Listen to the tales, the casual guys intent. To the top ropes, they died for the belt that bent. Blood, sweat, and tears, they rape what they spent. In the square circle, lives twist and bent. Listen to the tales, the casual guys intent. Tune in, tune out. Hear the rush out. WrestleMania, wrestling wasteland. Hellland. Heroes fall, villains rise, they dance the violent dance. Chairs, tables, ladders, snakes, the audience in a trance. The casual guy breaks it down, chance by chance. He peels back the curtain, gives secrets and glance. Podcast waves reverberate like a couch. Each move, each fight, not just from the clouds. Standing tall in chaos, what it's all about. The casual guy tells it raw, no doubt. Bone-crunching battles and unending tales. Flashing lights, roaring crowd, new trumped up sales. Beyond the scripted saga, reality prevails. In the casual guy's realm, the truth never fails.
Such a ding dong. This is like a Marvel movie or something. But next Friday, well, in 2 days, I will be in Oklahoma City at Friday Night SmackDown, front row. I'll be in the corner left of the entrance, usually where that staircase is that they walk into the ring. So keep your eyes peeled. I'll be there. Until then, maybe I'll do some lives from SmackDown here.
Reverberate like a couch. Each move, each fight, not just for the clout. Standing tall in chaos, what it's all about. The casual guy tells it raw, no doubt.
Peace out, y'all. Thank you.
Battles and unending